Hi, this is Britt Carpenter with Be a Voice on Usula Radio. The goal of Be a Voice is to bring awareness on critical topics affecting our communities and to bridge the gaps between them. Thanks for joining us.
I'm really excited today because this is actually my first show back in the studio since COVID hit in March. And it's actually my first show back since May. And in addition to that, this is my 60th show altogether since starting Usula. So I'm really stoked for today's show and to be sharing the show today with my guest who I have been trying to get on since before COVID. And she's just a very difficult person to nail down here.
Oh, please. It's all COVID. It's not my fault.
I'm not going to go for that. I am sitting here with Monica Cryan from WPHL17 Morning News. She is the meteorologist who brings you the weather every morning. Hey, Monica.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you for finally being able to connect.
Congratulations. 60th is the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, so we need to celebrate this like it's a Diamond Jubilee show.
What does that even mean?
The Queen, when she turned 60, ruled for 60 years, not turned 60.
Isn't the Queen like 160 at
when
this
she
point?
ruled for 60 years, they did a Diamond Jubilee, and this is your Diamond Jubilee.
Right on. What do I get for that?
Jessie James sang at her Diamond Jubilee, so we'll get Jessie J for you.
All right. If not, do you sing?
I do.
You do?
I'm a very good singer.
I thought so. For some reason, I knew that.
Yeah, I really love karaoke. I don't know if I'm a good singer. I was cut from choir in grade school and in high school, but I love singing.
Wait, you tried out for choir in grade school?
I don't want to let's not focus on that. We have lots to talk about.
Wait a second. I was like, this is going to be a show in itself. Oh my gosh, that could actually be trauma for somebody.
Oh, so traumatic. I've been cut from a lot of things, and it's traumatic.
That's okay. I'm like the guy that was like, oh, it's kickball. I'll just wait over here until nobody else is left, And then you can
I
pick
was the one
me.
that was like, pick me! And they're like, shut up, sit down.
Oh, well, thank you so much for showing up today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited, only for the simple fact that I know your team.
Yes.
I know your morning family. They have all been here on the show.
Right.
You yourself have been somebody I've been trying to get on, but, prior to this, you had a baby.
Yes.
So you were out on maternity for a little bit.
Yes.
And you came back.
Pretty busy then.
Yeah, I bet you were.
Yeah.
How old is your baby now?
She is 13 months.
13 months.
Yeah, so I'm a mom who uses months now.
Do you do?
Yes.
Have you used months from the beginning?
Well, because it's hard. If you just say a year, she's not really, after she turns 13 months, then she's not a year. She's 13 months now. Because every month still there's so many developments, so many milestones month to month that you still have to go month to month with their age.
Now that you broke that down and said that about, the milestones, I get
Yes.
it. Before I was like, what's wrong with just saying she turned 1 last month?
Right. Well, because when she turned a year, she wasn't really walking. Now at 13 months, she's totally walking. So she's a totally different person now that she's walking.
That's awesome. And how long has she been walking?
For maybe like 2 weeks now.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
This is brand new.
It's so brand new, and it brings so much more territory. She's gotten sass with her walk. So it's not like she's just walking. She's sassy now. She argues back. Can't really talk, but says gung gung. That's her argument.
That's amazing. What does she say?
It's the end of the Law and Order, like the gung gung.
Gung gung.
Yeah,
gung, gung.
that's how she talks.
Oh my God.
She comes up to me, she goes gung gung. I'm like, okay, relax. I'll get your Cheerios.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, what's her name?
Josephine, and we call her JoJo.
Josephine. JoJo.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it was Josephine June, and we were going to call her JJ. And then the second she was born, it's just for some reason we just kept calling her JoJo, and it just stuck.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. It's fun.
It's fun.
Really fun, and
Yep.
it's something you don't hear too often.
Right.
JJ.
Right. Yeah, we're hearing some interesting names nowadays. Like every name has a cycle, so you don't hear of anyone naming their child Monica. None.
I think it's I think names are an age thing.
Yeah, and it's a cycle. I wonder, though, if Monica's kind of off the cycle thing. Monica Lewinsky kind of, that whole thing, it was kind of tough for me growing up. And so I just don't think anybody names their child Monica anymore. But maybe I'm wrong.
Hey, and she has a heck of a following now, Monica Lewinsky.
I know.
She is like...
She came back with a force, and I loved it.
She's like that skater that with the baton. What's her name? Tanya?
Tanya Harding.
Harding?
And she hit Nancy.
Yeah, she hit Nancy Kerrigan. She came back full force, too.
I love it.
And people love her.
Yeah, I know. It's all about a comeback story, right?
That might be a really bad pun for Monica Lewinsky, but anyway.
Please.
Sorry. That was really bad taste on my part. But that's what happens sometimes with me.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It's fine.
So, Monica, you are the meteorologist on the morning show.
Yes.
5 days a week, bringing us the weather.
Yes.
Meteorologist. Now,
Yes.
you went to school for meteorology?
I did.
What made you go to school for that?
So it's such an like a long story, but I will shorten it up for you. So I grew up in the Philadelphia area.
Okay.
I grew up in Delaware County, Media, Pennsylvania, and news is a big thing in Philadelphia. People love their news, and my parents were were two of those people that loved their news. So also, I didn't have cable growing up. Just a little side note. I did not have
Really?
cable. So, 6 o'clock rolls around. All that's on your 6 channels is news.
3, 6, and 10.
Yeah, that's WPHL17.
Oh, well, you're a little younger than I am.
WB17. I know.
The WB, that frog, that
But
dancing frog.
now we've got the news, okay? We've got the news you can use. But at the time, that's all that was on television, 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And so my mom would let us watch 1 hour of TV a night, and it would just be the news. And I loved watching the news. And I knew I wanted to get into television, but this is the whole part of you got to kind of find your path in life. And I was not good at reading and writing in school. It was never my 2 favorite subjects. I didn't really like it all that much, but I really liked math and science. So my parents were always kind of into, sculpting your own path. And so when I said to them, I want to be in news, but I really don't want to read and write every day. And I know journalism is a lot of reading and writing. It's a lot of other things, but a big part of it is reading and writing. And so my parents said, well, what about weather? It's a really science-based background. I had never thought about it like that. I had always thought the person presenting the weather was just kind of, reading off of a script. A lot of people think that. You didn't realize how much science is behind it. And so I started doing courses in environmental science when I was in high school. I took an AP environmental science class. And I learned a lot about the high and low pressure systems and actually, interestingly enough, how weather affects pollution. That was a big part of AP environmental science. I went to Marion Mercy. That was my high school. And they really helped, kind of guide me in the right direction of how to get into that science because I love science and math so much. And then I decided to go to Penn State, which has a really good meteorology program in the nation. And it just so happened to be my state school, which is awesome.
Nice. So, and Penn State, my dad was a huge Penn State fan before he passed. We have an entire basement of Penn State.
It's hard not to.
I didn't go to Penn State. My brother didn't go to Penn State.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But
you're going to have a Penn State room.
Absolutely. And it is a Penn State room. I'm talking down to the blue and white leather furniture.
I know. It's really hard. When you graduate, so my husband went to Penn State too. We met there. So we have so much collected Penn State stuff that we, by default, turned JoJo's room into a Penn State themed room because we have so much stuff. So we're like, all right, let's put this picture here. Who cares if it's the Nittany Lion?
Right. It's Penn State.
Yeah,
so
it's got to go there.
So did you go right to State College?
Yes, I did. I went to main campus right out of high school. And again, it's just so fun that I got to go to my state school. I got to go to one of the best meteorology programs in the country. It was a ton of fun. I just met so many friends, met my husband there.
Right.
And just had a great time, got involved in a lot of activities and, really forged my way at Penn State, but, had a lot to work on after graduation, right. Obviously.
So when you were at Penn State, did they have a TV channel?
They
there?
did.
Were you
They
on
had
that?
a few TV channels. It's so interesting because Penn State has so many resources, and they work hard to get all those resources for their students. But then, I was working at one news channel, PSN, the Penn State Student Network, and then Campus Weather Service, and then I also had another channel that we were working with. And so then all of a sudden you graduate and you go to your first market, which is very small, and they don't have half the resources you had in college.
I bet.
They had nicer graphic systems, they had a nicer key wall, nicer microphones, everything was nicer at Penn State than, but that's because they work for the resources. Yeah.
And it's Penn State.
And it's Penn State.
And it's Penn State.
They got to be good.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I think that's what, I think, people talk about Temple here in Philadelphia, Temple made, but I also think, that Penn State proud is one of those things that people to remember because they produce amazing graduates.
They do. And they have just really good, focused academics. So, like my husband was in supply chain. And that's really good at Penn State too. It's a business of logistics. I couldn't tell you what he does. I don't really know.
Isn't that like trafficking logistics stuff?
I don't know. It's all Greek to me. But they apparently have a very good supply chain school there too. So it's like kind of Penn State can be really good for if you have a focus.
Right.
That's really awesome. And I'll gotta give a shout out to Temple because Jenna would kill me if I didn't. But yeah, Temple and their communications, just amazing.
Absolutely. And, I think, with Penn State, because I used to go to Penn State with my parents when I was younger they had, season tickets for football since the 70s.
Jealous.
Since the 70s.
Oh, I'm so glad we're friends now.
Oh, my gosh. Well, my dad passed, so no more season tickets.
Oh, no more. Okay. I'm sorry.
My uncle might, though. Maybe we could, con him into them. But I remember sitting, it was my 10th birthday. I sat on the bench when Joe Paterno was coaching, for my 10th birthday.
Oh my gosh,
so I always
amazing.
Remember that, with the Nittany line there and everything. I thought it was the coolest thing.
Yes.
I applied to Penn State. I got accepted to the extension in Allentown because I'm from the Allentown area.
Yes. And
there was no way in hell I was staying in Allentown another year or two.
Right. You kind of want if you want to get out, you want to get out.
Right.
I don't blame you.
And so I went to East Stroudsburg, and that's a whole other story. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But yeah, that was actually my visit to Penn State, my first visit. Like, again, I had really applied to Penn State because I knew I wanted to get into meteorology and I knew they had a good program. Otherwise, I was looking at other communication schools like Syracuse, Fordham. And so my parents were like, all right, look at Penn State. And so I went up for a visit and we're riding the big blue buses that they chart you around in for these school visits. And they're like, oh, look over here. We have the Penn State Creamery, almost as famous as Joe Pa. And I turned to my dad and I said, Dad, what's a Joe Pa? And he goes, shut up, sit down. Sit down. Don't you ever say that again.
Oh, my gosh.
He was so embarrassed. I didn't know.
And you know what? Rightfully so. And it's really funny you said Penn State Creamery because I was actually going to say to you, my favorite part about it was going there and getting the Penn State ice cream and bringing it home.
Yes.
And they used to always put it in the Penn State Creamery bags.
Because they knew what they were doing.
Exactly.
The cooled bags.
The cool bags.
Yeah.
I actually still have some.
I love it.
Because it's just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the best little downtown there to walk
the best
around.
college town.
The Rathskeller. I mean, who
Oh yeah, it's closed.
I do.
It's okay.
That's all right.
That's all right.
We had our fun there, I'm sure.
All old and new.
Yeah. And a lot of good food places too.
Some really good food places.
Yeah.
I just loved that downtown area. I felt like it was like I ran that town
Yeah.
my senior year. I was like, coming through.
Were you in a sorority?
I was.
You were?
Yes. And so that's one of the ways that I was able to get involved. I thought it was a great way to get involved at Penn State. I kind of went through my first semester, and I had a great time, met some great friends my first semester, really got involved with the meteorology aspect. But then I realized there were other things I wanted to do, like Thon, and I thought a sorority was the best way to get involved that way.
Thon's a great thing, so you participated in Thon.
I did.
Yeah?
I loved Thon. Went canning. I know they don't do as much canning anymore, but, where they stand outside on the street and ask for money.
Yep.
That sounds kind of funny now, but yeah, that's canning was really fun and a great way to.
The last time I saw that, I was out at Shady Maple out in Lancaster.
Yes.
And there was a student from Penn State standing in a costume, maybe he was lying, with the Thon can.
Yeah, you kind of, now they've really stepped up their canning game. Kids get really dressed up.
Yeah.
I used to just wear jeans and like a sweatshirt. It usually was freezing
Standing
outside.
at an intersection looking for money?
Yes, and almost getting hit by a car. But now they're a lot safer. They really upped their game with like the costumes and going to places instead of standing in the middle of the street. So
you really liked your college experience?
Absolutely loved it. It's something in the water.
Were you a 4-year college?
Yes.
4 years?
Mm-hmm. 4 years. Thank God. I graduated in 4 years. I don't know how I did it.
Wow.
At graduation, I'm like, I can't believe I graduated in 4 years. I should have been here for at least 6.
I did 4.5, and I was pretty shocked because I think that half semester was one that I slept the whole time.
Yeah. Meteorology, it was, they warned you ahead of time. It's a very rigorous program,
Wow.
and they were not lying. It was really tough. But I made it through with the help of friends and my professors. That's the only way I passed.
Did you stay there a lot? You didn't come home on weekends? Even
No,
though
I didn't. You know, it's funny. Now it's only like 3.5 hours away, but to me that was an eternity. I was not about to come back and forth. So no, I stayed there most weekends. I also have severe FOMO. So every weekend there was something going on. I couldn't miss it. Could not miss it.
Well, with FOMO, how did you even like live knowing that you were out on maternity leave then and all your family was there on the news? Did you watch every morning?
I watched a lot of mornings. Not every morning, but a lot of mornings I did. And, you know, they were still having a good time. But it just got me excited to come back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, FOMO, I definitely had it. It was hard leaving.
Mm-hmm.
But then once you're out of it, you're out of it. You know what I mean? And I was just so in the zone with Joe. It was more just like the days leading up.
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely anxious and sad. I mean, I love working. I love going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And even now when I went back to work, I felt so lucky that I got to go back to work.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, and hearing you could hear that passion you have for what you do.
Oh, yeah.
And that's so important in what it is.
Yes, and a lot of it's the meteorology. I love getting to talk about weather, but it's definitely our show. Our show is fun. I have so much fun every day going into work. And, you know, I know we won't lose that because it's just so genuine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not a forced fun. I mean, sometimes I'll be in a funk and then I'm snapped right out of it because of the people I work with.
So one of the things that I never do with my guests coming in unless what I know about my guests when they come in is what I know about them. I don't do research. I don't get on.
That's awesome.
You know, it's just because like you could pull anything up off the internet, you know, and I just have a talk. So where did you go after Penn State? What was your first job?
All right, now we're going to get into this.
Well, I saw the eyes going. I love hearing about everybody in media, their first jobs.
So this is, I think, you know, it's time to talk about it because I graduated, and I will tell you, Penn State prepares you really well for meteorology. They prepare you for broadcasting, but no one can prepare you for live television. It's just a totally different beast. And so my first job, I worked in Salisbury, Maryland for a household station in Salisbury, Maryland. And I got on there and I was green as could be. And so it was tough. And they actually pulled me off air the very beginning because they just were like, you're not ready. You need to practice more. And that was tough. But I practiced and I practiced. And really, I know it sounds so cheesy, but the more I practiced, the more confident I got. You just need confidence. You know what I mean? If you're not feeling confident about yourself, about your forecast, then it's going to show on air. And then the more I built my confidence, the better on air I was. And then finally, I was able to get back on air. And then I wanted to move up, and I was only part-time for them.
Mm-hmm.
So then I went to Texas and really got my first start on air in Midland, Texas. You know where what's that, Friday Night Lights?
Yeah. Yes.
Midland, Odessa area.
Okay.
That's where I really got on air, was a full-time meteorologist / reporter. And that was really cool because it was a reporting aspect too, and I learned a lot about the newsroom. So it wasn't just me as a meteorologist. I was in the thick of it, in the newsroom, learning so much about the product.
That's awesome. So when you went to Salisbury, then you went to Midland, did your husband go with you to each of these places?
No, we were dating all throughout, but we were
Okay.
long distance. So we were long distance for like 2.5 years. He was doing his thing in a rotational program with his company. And so he went to Connecticut, Denver, and then Alabama, while I was doing Maryland and Texas. And then we met in Alabama. I got a job in Alabama and
Where in Alabama?
Montgomery.
Okay.
So he was working outside of Montgomery. I got a job in Montgomery. And that's when we, kind of got more serious. And he proposed in Alabama. And then we got married, moved to Connecticut. And then I worked at NBC Connecticut, and he worked at a company in Hartford area.
Did you live in Hartford area?
Yes.
I love Hartford area. My
I love it
goddaughter, when she was born, they moved to Hartford, to West Hartford.
Yeah, I love
Loved
West
it.
Hartford.
Loved it.
Weehaw.
They used to live right by that little shopping area
Blueback
that had
Square.
the Cheesecake Factory and everything.
Blueback Square.
Yes.
Me and my husband spent so much time there. We had so much fun. I loved West Hartford and Hartford, and that area. And you're close to Boston. We went to Boston for the first time there. Had
Hartford's a
lot of fun.
very, very cool area. I was offered a job there at one point, and I said no, just because for me that's too removed. And I'm a single person, so I would have to meet new friends and deal with all that again.
Yeah,
and
I mean, this is coming from someone who moved to Midland, Texas, and Alabama. I felt like Hartford was bustling. Bustling.
It's so cool to hear though, because I talked to either other people on your show, whether Kelsey and Demetria and Nick, even how they've all did their small town stations and put that.
It's where you grow a lot.
Yeah.
You really grow a lot, and you hone your skills there so that my goal was always to come back to Philadelphia. So finally got some good experience and felt confident enough to start applying for jobs in the Philadelphia market.
So the Philadelphia market, you wanted to come back here.
Yes.
PHL was
Dream.
opening their morning news program.
Yes.
And you were one of the first ones hired, weren't you?
Yes, I was. So I had known Matt Toll before, and he gave me a call. Well, actually, him and Vince Giannini gave me a call and said, we're starting a whole new show. And I said, yes, absolutely, because you know what? I always have wanted to be a part of not only a news team, but a developing news team. I don't mind coming into a program that's, solidified with people, but it's so much fun when you can make it your own. And that's exactly what we're doing, is trying to make this show our own. And so I was so excited about the prospect of getting to put in my 2 cents and kind of mold it to how I think it would be fun and what I think, adds sunshine to everybody's day.
Well, I love that.
Yeah.
The meteorologist adding sunshine to everybody's day. That's right on.
I'm sure Jenna, Nick, and Demetria are also a ruckus. You add a lot of ruckus.
That was my next thing I'm going to bring in here, because I'm going to tell you, I watch the news. I mean, once again, I'm from the Allentown area, so that's very close to Philly and that very news-centric.
Yes.
They
love their news.
Absolutely. And you knew which household you were from by which station you watched.
Yes.
So, but and I always watch the news, and the news is always so, on today, It's a very much, uptight sometimes.
Right.
You guys aren't uptight.
There's a time and place for everything. And I definitely think with a lot of stuff that has been going on, we are striking a balance between keeping it informative, keeping it, concise, and then adding the fun when it's appropriate.
And that's what I love about you guys, because you're able to bring your personalities into it.
Right. And I think sometimes you need that right now.
It's the human side. It shows that you're real. There's no separation then between you and the viewers. You're a real person.
Sure.
They get it.
Yes.
And you got to be on. You've got to be on for 4 hours.
You do have to be on for 4 hours. I always say, the 5 o'clock is a bit tough. I like my 6, 7, and 8 o'clock shows a lot better. But I think sometimes the 5 o'clock is when things get a little bit crazy. And that's when all of a sudden you're woken up because something crazy happens. And you're like, well, all right, I'm awake. Hello.
So does anybody ever give you crap, anybody in your family or friends, about the weather and be like, oh, the weather, it was wrong again?
No, because I'm never wrong. No, I'm kidding.
No, you're not.
No, weather is a science, so you can do your best to predict it, but the atmosphere is going to do what it wants to do, and that's what's so cool about it. And I think sometimes my job is not just to predict the weather, but it's to broadcast to you why I'm thinking it's this way, but there's also the potential that it does something else. And here are my thinkings, and this is, my forecast is just backed by science, but.
So your forecast, you predict? You sound like, they just put on a teleprompter and tell you, hey, Monica, tell them it's going to rain today?
No.
No?
No, because you know what? That I wouldn't even want that. Yeah, I love going in and I love forecasting. First of all, to me, it's like a routine. I come in, I write all my numbers down, of the different computer models and what they're saying, and then I come up with my own forecasting. It's relaxing to me to have a forecast. I mean, yes, there are times when, S is hitting the fan. There's no time to forecast.
Right.
Just get in there, do your thing. But most days I come in and I do my forecast. It's routine for me. And since it's my forecast, I have a lot of confidence behind my broadcast then because I know what I'm talking about. I came up with those numbers.
I love it.
Yeah, it's
I love
fun.
it. And I think you said it too. I mean, it's a science. Meteorologist, it's a science.
Right.
There's no doubt about it. It's not like you look up, it's a clear sky, there's going to be a nice day today.
Right.
You never know what's going to happen in an hour. I mean, I lived in Florida, so I know weather.
Oh my gosh, Florida. That's crazy stuff. Meteorologists in Florida, I'm like, God bless you.
Well, and that's why I always say, because I think sometimes meteorologists in Florida, they're just like, sun today, an hour later, rain.
Yeah,
Who knows,
right. Who knows? But
and it's. I'm glad to hear you say that. You take pride in that. Like this is your weather forecast.
Yes.
You build that, and
right.
It's what you're giving to people, so they're hanging on your word.
Exactly, and so I do. I love to come in, make my own forecast, and that's what I went to school for. And I really do. I feel like because I'm from this area. I'm broadcasting to my friends and family. I kind of understand what the people of Philadelphia want to know because I grew up here. So I know in the summertime, you want to know what the shore is going to be like, the sea breeze, that kind of thing. And then the winter hits and how are we looking for snow? What are the mountains looking like? Because I go skiing every winter.
So you're pretty active too?
I'm active. I have to say, though, there are some people that make you feel so bad about your activity level. You know what people I'm talking about that go like hiking every weekend or find a new park to hit up. I'm like, I'm Ridley Creek State Park or die. That's it. I'm not going anywhere else.
Once again, Delco.
Yes, sorry. So, I mean, I'm as active as anybody else, but I love this area and I love the activities within the area.
You like the shore.
I love the shore.
You go to the shore?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
What shore point do you like?
So I used to be an Ocean City girl, and now I'm Avalon.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents have a place in Avalon, and they are very nice enough to let us come with all of our baggage and children and whatnot.
It's because you have a child. They want the grandchild there.
They do, and they're really nice. At first, I was like, I had a thinking of I was burdening them, and they're like, no, this is why we got the shore house, so you would come down and bring your family.
That's so awesome, so they can spend time with your family.
Yes, exactly.
That's so cool. And plus, you could have a shore house in Avalon. What the heck?
I know, I love it. It's a lot of fun.
I used to have a place that we'd go to every year in Ocean City.
Yes.
And, Ocean City was just, I remember like when I was 21, because it was dry, we'd stop at Circle Liquors before we go in there.
Yes, you got to stock up at Circle Liquors. But actually, it's so funny because everybody always talks about, Ocean City, it's such a dry town. But you go right over to Summers Point, you're having a ball. I love Summers Point. And Ocean City, it's okay that it's dry. You've got the boardwalk, you've got great shops, great restaurants in Ocean City
Absolutely.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's more family oriented anyway. I mean, we used to go there, and then we actually jumped over the bridge to Strathmere.
Okay. Duval. Whatever.
Yeah, and that was the only place over there. So
yeah.
to go.
Well, Strathmere is very small compared to the other.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's more quiet town.
So you hit the shore every weekend?
I try to every weekend. There's always a lot going on in the summer, and I don't want to be one of those people that's like, nope, sorry, can't. I'm going down the shore. So, I'll do anything back here in Philly, but if I don't have anything going on, I'm down the shore.
Nice. I've always wondered why New Jersey calls it a shore and everybody else calls it a beach.
Like, where does SHORE come from? I couldn't
I don't know. Shoreline, but like
shore.
Like shore. Like
Sure.
Everybody goes to the beach. I'm going to the beach. Oh, you're going to Ocean City, Maryland? Because nobody ever says I'm going to the beach in Jersey.
Right.
I'm going to the shore.
Going down the shore.
Down the shore. Mm-hmm. And you do some segments down the shore?
Yeah, we have PHL17 down the shore.
Down the
We're
shore.
so creative in our names. But actually, so we're down the shore, but Kelsey went to Bethany Beach, and I think we're going to Rehoboth Beach
Delaware.
too. Yeah. Oh yeah. We hit all the places.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Jeez, look at that.
Yeah.
So how's COVID been treating you? Or how have you been handling COVID, I should say? Because
Yeah.
you've been on the air every day. Like, Jenna got a chance to work. Didn't get a chance, but she had to go work from home.
She worked from home.
You were in the studio.
I was in the studio. They had been thinking about sending me home, and I said, that's fine. That's fine. But my house is teeny tiny, and I've got a sleeping baby at 5 a.m. So if you could, I would like to stay in the studio. I just didn't want to wake her up. And they were understanding of that. And so it's so interesting to hear of people's different stories. Some people like working from home. Some people have to work from home. My PHL17 worked with me when they were like, oh, we're going to send you home. And I was like, that's fine, but also I've got a sleeping baby at 5 a.m. and I'm so loud, I know I'm going to wake her up. I'm so loud. So that worked out. COVID's, it's tough. It's a sad, there's no other way to look at it. It's sad. And I think it really hit me hard in the very beginning when things started closing, when my girlfriends started saying, hey, we're quarantining hardcore. We can't even do an outdoor thing. And I understood that. So I missed everyone. We quarantined with my parents. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, they were really awesome and offered a lot of help through the whole thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's so
and
good.
I know, it's still going on. And who knows what it's going to look like in the next month and the next year. But I just feel so lucky again to even have a job right now.
That's awesome. That's and you're accurate. I mean, I have a small business and I've been suffering.
hard.
It's been
It's
a roller
hard.
coaster, and even without that, it's hard. And
Yeah.
and I want people to know who are watching on the YouTube live. We're in the studio, but we do have our 6 feet. We do our distance and stuff like that. And I think that's been another hard thing because both of us are social creatures, and we like that
Yes.
that energy from other people.
Yes.
That we're not around them, and it's like, oh my gosh.
I know. Well, and then it's so funny. I'm social, but I also like to get out. And, with JoJo, it's like I've been wanting to get out. And now all of a sudden things are starting to open up and I can take her in the stroller and it's the dead heat of the summer. I'm like, all right, I'm heading back inside. This is so not even worth it.
Ridiculous. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, just sweat. I leave the house and I just sweat,
I know.
It's ridiculous.
But it is nice to get back out. Yeah, we've been doing the park a lot more and they took the tape off of the swing sets and stuff.
You go to Rose Tree Park?
No, so I live in Ardmore now.
Oh, okay.
I don't live in Media. I grew up in Media.
Okay.
Now I live in Ardmore, still in Delco. But we go to the parks in Ardmore. There's a few that we can stroll to.
From an outsider perspective, knowing Delco, I would probably say Ardmore was probably like the least of the Delco-y places.
Well, I'm right on County Line Road, so I'm on the Delco side of County Line Road. But
Carlino's.
I walked to Carlino's.
Oh my gosh. One of my very good friends opened up a barbershop next to Carlino's.
Mark's?
Make your mark.
Mark's. Make your mark. All I see is Mark's.
Yeah, make your mark. His name is Mark. And his Mark.
My goodness.
Yeah, he did a huge event for the nonprofit affiliate that I run.
Yes.
And everything. But
Does
anyway,
he do women's hair? I'm looking.
He might.
I need to-
He's amazing.
Need
He's
to get a
amazing.
haircut.
He might.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. I pass there all the time. Again, just taking Joe for strolls.
Carlino's. Oh my
Carlino's, and then
gosh.
there's Sam's and Marone's. They've got some good restaurants there.
I-
And then they just opened up a new one. It's called Sesame, and it's like Asian bowls. I don't know. It's
On
delicious.
County Line?
It's on County Line, but Wynwood too. So it faces Wynwood, but on County Line. Yeah.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. On the corner.
The old J&G Deli.
The old deli.
Yeah.
They were working on that for a while. It's on the corner. The glass.
Yes.
Yeah, right when you turn on the county line.
Yeah, so they just opened up, and
Oh.
I was like, I think their first customer. I was knocking on the door, like, are you guys open? I've been waiting so long, but they, so sad, and you hear so many stories like this. They opened right before COVID, and then they had to shut down, and I just was so worried the whole time. I had so much anxiety for them, like, are you guys going to open back up? Are you going to make it through? And so far they're open. I didn't really get to talk to anyone, but got dinner from them once.
Nice. Good. So you be supporting your local.
I love local businesses,
Nice.
local restaurants especially.
There's
I'll
some
be
good
there.
restaurants. I'll tell you.
I'll be there.
Ardmore does have some good restaurants.
They do. They
do. They have some decent
Ardmore,
ones.
Havertown too.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to actually run a school in Broomall right across. So I would drive,
Yes.
3 to get home. And
Yes, oh, yeah.
So many different little pocket restaurants in those streets. And
And good like delis, hoagie places, delicious.
I love it. So yeah, it's funny. You definitely are Delco through and through then.
I am, but I know the entire Delaware Valley. I don't want people to think that I only know what the weather is going to be like for Delco. I know what it's going to be like for the Lehigh Valley area, Monco. I've got Chester County, no problem. South Jersey.
And I got to tell you, when I'm listening to you and you're like, the weather in Allentown, I get all excited because that's my hometown. And I'm like, she's speaking to my people.
Everybody says that to me, and that's why. So I have a temperature map, and it zooms in closer to some of these towns like Jenkintown, Germantown, Pottstown. I'm just saying all the towns right now. But like Millville, Vineland. So I do that specifically because people love to hear their town shouted out. So, you know that if the temperature in let's say Media, and I say is 68 degrees, in Broomall, it's most likely 68 degrees, but I still like to just shout out Broomall, because people like to hear their town names. They get very excited.
And I noticed that, and I like that too. And I guess because, when you think about it, if it's a Philly station, people will assume that you're just Philly-centric. And that's your central focus point. So when you mentioned even the Poconos, up in Mount Pocono today, or at Lake Harmony, I'm sure, that's awesome.
But, it's Market 4. This is Market 4. You have a densely populated area everywhere in this market. So, that's why I feel so lucky that I get to work here, because it's a big, big market.
So that's hobbies. Any hobbies? Does that go to the fact that you're not that active?
Yes. My hobbies are going back to the shore. Let's talk about that. That's what I like to do. And then, I guess you could say when you get home, I work out. But everybody does that. That's not really like a hobby, but...
No, I don't work out at home.
Okay, so,
I'm okay. I'm all right.
Workout, let's just say that.
I worked really hard in my life to look like this. So.
But just hanging out with family on the weekends, whether it's in the Poconos or down the shore, back in Philly.
You come from a big family?
I have a sister and a brother, but my dad came from a big family. He had 6 brothers and sisters, and they all still live in Delaware County. So.
And it's an Italian family.
It's an Italian family.
Which?
Well, it's Irish and Italian, but our last name was Tassoni, or is Tassoni. So the Italian really
came out.
Oh, yeah.
So the red hair is Irish?
The red hair is Irish. My grandmom had really, really beautiful auburn hair. So that's
So do you tell people you have auburn hair?
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't say red?
Because have you seen some redheads?
Yes.
Yes. I don't look like that. That's real red hair. Auburn. Yeah.
I won't even get into the conversation. I had a friend last night about redheads. I said I used to just date a lot of redheads, I think, only because for some reason they never wanted to commit. I'm like, that was best. That was amazing. I was like,
you had a type.
It was awesome,
Yeah.
So being an Italian family, so you have a brother, you said, and a sister.
Yes.
And where do you fall in that?
Yes. So I am the oldest, and I loved being the oldest. It was just really fun. And then my middle sister and my youngest brother. And my brother is a Marine. He's at Lejeune in North Carolina.
I used to live in Wilmington.
Oh, really?
Right down the road from Lejeune.
I thought you meant Wilmington, Delaware. I was like, oh, no.
Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yeah, Wilmington, North Carolina. Got it. Yes, so he loves it there.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny when I lived in Wilmington, North Carolina. We would have to. There's only one road really in. You would pass Lejeune to get there.
Yes.
I was at 70 or so. I don't even know anymore.
Couldn't tell you.
But I think everybody that lived there felt very safe and secure because Lejeune was right there.
The Marines are right there.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And they would always come down to the downtown Wilmington. I tend to bar down there.
He goes out a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a good time.
So he's a Marine.
Yeah, he's a Marine, and my sister is a vet, and she's in Philly.
Oh my gosh, speaking my language, I love my animals.
I know you do.
That's great.
Amazing. Animal lovers.
I am. And it's funny. And with people, I found out that they're either really animal lovers or they're okay with animals.
Yeah, and me and my sister are opposites in the best way possible, but we are opposites in every way possible. I mean, she's an introvert, I'm an extrovert. She's a night owl, and I'm more of a morning person, although I can bring it any time of the day. and she's strictly just a night person.
For those of you who want to invite her for after 7 o'clock at night.
Yes. I'm down for anything. Don't worry. But so she's an animal person, and I wouldn't say I'm not an animal person, but Take it or leave it. I don't have any pets.
Were you a kid person prior to having a child?
No.
I could see that.
And yeah, so.
Look, you didn't even like hesitate. You're like, no.
I mean, I love my JoJo, but she might just be one and done. Who knows?
And I could probably understand that
too. This has
too.
been a lot of work.
So has it changed you more than you expected?
Yes, it totally has. But really, really cool.
Yeah.
You know, I always thought like when things got really hard that you would be miserable, but when things get really hard, you still just are so happy because they're just the best person you could have ever made.
Is she your best friend?
She is my best friend, but I'm totally going to raise her so that I am a mom first, friend second. That's going to be my shebang wang because
I love that.
yeah. You know, and especially as she gets older, I would love to have a great relationship with her, but I realize, you know, you got to have the balance.
It's really funny that you say that because my father passed 2 years ago, and when he did, and I wrote, like, I love to write. I put my emotions in words, and that's sort of like where the Britt James came from, and putting,
Yes.
you know, and I wrote about how, like, he was always a father first and foremost.
Yes.
He was never my best friend.
Yes.
Later in life, we forged an amazing relationship like that,
Totally.
but I learned so much from him and have so much respect
Oh,
for
yeah.
myself and others because of that. And I love to hear you say that because I think that's the right way to do it.
I mean, there's some people who would have different styles, and I understand that. I have girlfriends whose moms were their best friends from the very beginning, best friend then mom, and they're awesome, and their moms are awesome, and their you know relationship is great. But I just feel like for me, how I'm gonna raise my daughter is I'm gonna be mom first, best friend second.
So then in the relationship there between, you know, with you and your husband, who's going to be the softie?
Me.
You will be?
Yeah, but which is tough because I'm definitely a disciplinarian. I feel bad for her because we both are disciplinarians. Okay. But he's, you know, even to the point one time she threw her food off the table, and we're not about that. You eat or just let it be. And he goes, Josephine, no. And her face crumbled. I have never seen someone's emotion change so fast. And I was like, oh, you're mad at him. Thank God you're mad at him, not me. But I definitely think we're both disciplinarians. And that's another thing you kind of got to have, too. Both parents have to discipline. You can't just be one good cop, bad cop.
Right. It's not going to be like, you know.
You're kind of both bad cops at this point.
I think you have to be his parent. Both my parents were.
Yeah.
You know, my mother was the oldest Italian daughter.
Yes.
In the family, and she was the worst bad cop ever.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my gosh. She
I've been
still
scared.
is.
I'm sure.
She still is.
That's like my aunts. I have 4 aunts. They're all scary to me.
My whole family is scared. Listen, I call my mother on the phone thinking, hey, I'm going to have a conversation with my mom. I'll be like, hey, Mom. She's like, she answers the phone. She's like, hello. I'm like, hey, Mom. She goes, hey, Britt. I'm like, hey.
Oh.
All right, this will be a short-lived conversation. But that's cool. It's so,
Yeah.
Josephine's going to be a very lucky girl.
Yeah,
She's going to be a very
you.
lucky girl.
Thanks. We're lucky too.
That's
She's
awesome.
She's already developing a personality, and I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is she changing day by day?
I would say week by week.
Week by week.
Yeah, some days I'm like, you did this yesterday. Don't try it on me again. We're not doing this again.
So if you're not huge into like hobbies, how about eating out? You like to eat?
Yeah, maybe that's my hobby.
There we go.
I love going out to restaurants. So COVID has been tough, but ordering in was really fun. Ordering, you know, some of those restaurants that I wouldn't have necessarily gone out to dinner to, I'm now ordering in from. But yeah, I love going out to eat. I love having a nice glass of wine and talking to random people. I think that's what I miss most about it, because when you go out to eat, you're just so likely to talk to random people.
Always.
You know, so that's what I miss.
I find that so true about it. And I worked in the restaurant industry for many, many years.
Oh, did you? So did I. I worked for 1 year because I was very bad at it.
I really see. I think for me, I was good at it just because I could just talk.
I could totally see you being so good in the restaurant biz.
I loved it. I made killer. My money was amazing. The money I would walk out of there with was awesome.
I think I got paid more in the restaurant business than I do now, because you just
absolutely
especially if you can get those tables to turn over. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But I love the restaurants because of that, because you're more likely to have a conversation with somebody sitting next to you like, oh, what is that? Thank you so much.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Or like, you know, just casual conversations. And so you talked about going, did you cook?
No. Yeah, you're really calling me out here. I don't have hobbies. I don't cook. What do you want from me? Whoa, no. So
We're gonna have to have a second show and talk about like the preface to what we're talking about first.
like, if you ask me what I could cook, I can cook pasta, and I can cook eggs. I don't know. That's it.
Listen, I'm the last person to judge or laugh because what you just said, those are two of the things I can cook and not too well.
Okay, no, I can cook eggs and
too
pasta,
well.
but I say this: I cook to survive. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everybody's like, oh, you don't even cook? I'm like, no, I cook. I don't do it well, and I don't enjoy it. I cook to survive. Throw in a chicken. A lot of it's microwaved stuff here and there.
Nothing wrong with that. Listen, you got two people who are working in a house. You're raising a child. You do it. Whatever.
Right, and I think the thing is it's like, okay, I'll cook one item, but it takes more than one item to make a dinner. You got to have like your poultry, you got to have your starch and your vegetable. So 2 of those items are microwaved, 1 I'll do. That's my philosophy.
I love it. One thing because this is the first time you and I actually have sat down. Mm-hmm. We met face to face before, but that was always in events and stuff like that. To sit down is, you are one of the funniest persons that I have come across in a long time. Your humor on the morning show is amazing. Have you always been like that? Is that just something natural?
Not on air. I haven't always been like this.
Okay.
I kind of really would say PHL17 has just been such a blessing with just letting me get out there, do what I want, and letting me find myself. Because I'll be honest, I didn't expect this either, the show to go in this direction. So, when they first started it, they were like, okay, we're going to start a new show, and we want it to have a lot of personality, but I had no idea how much free reign they would let us take. So before that, I would say with my family and friends, it's always been fun, but I think within my good group of girlfriends, we have a ton of personality, so I don't stick out. I just go with the flow. I mean, all my girlfriends are just so fun, so funny. So I don't stick out in that group, which is nice, because I wouldn't want to be that girl in the group that's like known as always the loudest and just, she's going to bring the fun. That's too much pressure. Every girl brings something crazy, and I absolutely love it in my group of girlfriends.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and my family, same kind of thing. My dad, everybody would say my dad's the funny one. You know what I mean? So it's not a lot of pressure to entertain.
So you like karaoke, so you like to sing.
Karaoke.
Have you ever done stand-up comedy?
No.
No?
No.
I
we
can
did
picture
it once.
you that.
We did it once on the show, but that was like forced, and I said the weirdest things. And I automatically like default to this weird awkward voice. I go, "Hey guys, what's up with?" And Nick, Dimitri, and Jenna were like, "Why do you keep doing that?" I'm like, "I don't know, because you asked me to do stand up, and I don't know what the heck I'm doing." I just go, "Hey guys, what's up with this?" It's not funny.
That's great. Well, and that's cool because you're on your show. The producers do work with you guys to give you a lot of fun things to do.
Yes, they do.
Like your Halloween. You were the farmer.
The farmer. We've had 2 Halloweens. I was Lindsay Lohan the first Halloween. Oh. And then this, because we did our doppelgangers.
How did that one come about?
Because they were like, in college, everyone called me Lohan.
Really?
Yeah, that's when when I really looked like Lindsay Lohan. And everybody was like, "Oh, you look like Lindsay Lohan before she went anorexic." And I was like, that's not nice.
Lindsay Lohan looks like you. Because she doesn't look like, I can see it now.
Yeah, I think a lot has changed.
What was it? The big one. Mean Girls. That's the Mean. That's
when
there.
Mean Girls, everybody's like, "Oh, you look like Lindsay Lohan," and we actually have the same birthday too, which is so weird.
No way. When is her birthday?
Maybe there's something there. July 2nd.
Oh, happy belated!
Oh, thanks.
Nice.
But yeah, so and then I was the farm. We were the farm.
Right.
PHL17 farm animals, and I was the farmer. That was a crazy idea.
They gave you a pitchfork that was...
Yeah. No, that was my pitchfork. I had that at home because... So My pop-up.
You brought your own pitchfork.
Yes, my pop-up has a ton of tools in his shed, so I just went back into his shed and got a pitchfork. And this thing is so dangerous; it could impale anyone. But I brought it in, and my boss was like, "You need to remove this pitchfork immediately. This is such a hazard." But yeah. Our Halloweens every year, it's just we up the ante every year. It's just going to be harder and harder, but we just come up with ideas and have a lot of fun with that.
Hey, Kelly Ripa's been doing it for 20 years. You'll be all right.
Oh, I love Kelly Ripa.
Me too.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
Yeah, I used to watch her. It was Kelly and Regis. Mm-hmm. Or no, wait, Kathy Lee. Mm-hmm. Regis and Kathy Lee.
Yeah.
I used to watch.
Then it was Regis and Kelly.
Then it was Regis and Kelly. Now it's Kelly and Ryan.
Yeah.
And
yeah, Michael before, whatever that one. Yeah.
Don't mention that.
Yeah, I mean.
That was a tough.
Very tough.
Yeah. But I guess the whole thing is funny, but I think my dream job I'm doing right now, it is to be a meteorologist in Philadelphia. But side note, my other dream job, if Lorne Michaels of SNL ever called me, peace out. Cub Scout. That.
The next Tina Fey from Delco.
Oh my goodness. No, I could never be Tina Fey. She's genius.
So tell me one of your idols. Who's one of your idols?
Yeah, I would say Tina Fey. She's awesome. I mean, obviously, I'm going to go Oprah Winfrey. Ginger Z of Good Morning America.
I love her. And her husband's really funny.
Ben.
He's hysterical.
Is it Ben Aaron?
Ben Aaron.
I followed him on Instagram before I knew that they were even together.
He's hysterical.
He is hysterical.
He's hysterical. It must be the coolest house because the two of them together just
I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine. But Ginger Z's also, she's such a, person I look up to because she does a good job of being fun and then balancing in with the science and the serious factor. She's awesome.
Yep, and that personality comes through, the individual personality.
Yep.
How about any causes? You champion yourself for any causes? Do you believe in any, support anything?
Women's rights, women's empowerment, women in science, STEM, that kind of thing. I absolutely love that. And any opportunity I get to talk to schools, to talk to young girls about getting into science, technology, engineering, mathematics, I'm gung-ho for. It's been tough with COVID. Mm-hmm. All of the schools have been let out, and so you don't really have that outlet. And so I've been doing some stuff on Facebook, talking to students, and but I just think that kind of in person, it's been lost, and that's been tough. But anyway, back to women empowerment.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you've always believed in, or something that you're more coming into your own now as you're getting older?
Oh, no, my mom introduced it to me from the very beginning.
Mom a feminist from the beginning?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Right on.
She's an eye doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's a strong lady, really instilled that in me, and then I've just kind of made it my own.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So strong family values.
Oh, yeah. You got to. It's awesome.
And you're close with your family, which is so nice to hear.
Very, very close with them, and they offer a lot of support. And when I said I wanted to get into news, my parents were like, "All right, let's do this. How can we help?"
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. That's great, because when I said I wanted to go to college for art, my dad was like, "Cool, what's going to pay the bills?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "You?" And he's like, "Think again."
Yeah. Well, there was also this, back in the day, what the news that they watch, there was always like the glory years, 1980s, 1990s news. They make a ton of money. And now I'm like, "Mom, Dad, can you guys pay for dinner?"
And that's weird, isn't that? It shifted. The money has shifted since that,
Well, and it's not just about the money, but it's not as glorious,
right,
as everybody thinks it is. People still are like, "Oh, so who does your hair and makeup?" And I'm like, "Me," which is why I look like this. I have no idea what I'm doing.
I said that to somebody, and
There's
they're
no
like,
hair
"No, they have a hair and makeup person there." I'm
Right.
like, "Where?" They're like, "In the studios." I'm like, "What studio are you
We're
going
lucky
to?"
we even have a makeup room at this point.
Don't you guys have to walk up these long stairs
Yeah,
to get
we've
there?
got Mount Everest of steps, but you know what? It's kept me in shape these past few years.
And I hear you have a heck of a spread for food in the morning sometimes.
We do. We have a lot of food guests. Not every morning, but we have some great food guests that come on, and then they cook a ton of stuff, and then they just leave it.
At 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my gosh. And yeah, but at that point, that's my lunch. So I don't mind having a bowl of pasta at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's my lunch anyway.
So you're on the air at 5 a.m. You probably get there between 4:30, maybe a little earlier.
No, I get there around 3:30.
3:30 because you have to prepare your weather maps and everything.
Right. So, if it's a bad weather day and there's a whole lot to talk about, a whole lot to forecast, like snow, which is the toughest weather to forecast for. I mean, not the toughest, one of the toughest.
One of the toughest,
yeah. Just because a little temperature change, I mean, we're talking an nth of a degree, means a whole lot more snow than... So I'll get in earlier for days where there's bad weather.
And what time is your bedtime then?
8:30, 9 o'clock.
So not a lot of sleep there.
Not a lot of sleep, but if Joe's being cooperative and if she takes a long nap, I'm down for the count. I put my phone on airplane mode. No one bother me. I'm sleeping. So I'll take a nap if she takes a nap.
That's amazing. So, if any of my viewers, my one YouTube viewer, if any of the listeners want to follow you on Instagram, what is your Instagram page?
I did this on purpose, uniform throughout. Monica PHL17 on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter.
On purpose. That's a heck of a branding.
Yes.
That's the way it should be. Monica PHL17.
Yes.
And that would be the way they
me.
could follow. Absolutely. Follow her. Get on there and follow her. Give her a like immediately.
Because I have the most followers, not...
Wait.
Before we went live, Britt's like, oh, you're not that active on social media. I said, yes, I am. I have the most followers. And he goes, no, Jenna and Kelsey do. Like, all right.
I did not say it like that.
No, you did.
I did not. But she actually explained to me that she has the most followers across all platforms. It's not just all about Instagram. It's all of them. Instagram, Facebook,
Twitter.
And now
that
TikTok?
No.
You're not a TikTok person?
I'm not on TikTok.
Me either.
But follow Jenna because I'm on her TikTok a few times. That's it.
Oh my gosh, Monica, this has been a very quick, amazing hour.
Has it really been?
It has been an hour.
You're awesome.
You're awesome. It's about time. I'm so stoked that we were able to do this.
Thank
we can
you.
Stop hearing from Jenna then. Like, you got to get Monica in there. Make her come into the studio. Do not do it via Zoom. Just saying. She said it.
Jenna has bad problems with Zoom and anything virtual because we had a bad delay when she was working from home, and we had to do reacts about her stories. She had bad delays, and so she would always kind of chime in 10 seconds too late.
Oh, I know. She told me I wasn't very pretty.
She was not happy about that. So,
Monica, this is amazing. I actually would love to get the entire team together one morning and do this.
Yeah, let's do it.
That would be crazy. Maybe we can get Dylan to come on out to the PHL and do it out there.
Yeah, and we can kind of, bring you around the station.
Do it after the show because you guys have an amazing show. And for all the listeners out there, if you do not watch it, every morning, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 9. Jenna Meisner will tell you 4:55 the teaser goes on, but 5 a.m. to 9.
It does, yeah.
You can catch Monica Cryan as the meteorologist on Channel 17 PHL Morning News Show. Please make sure you're tuning in. Monica, this was amazing. Thank you for being my first guest back in the studio. Thank you for being my 60th guest and my 60th show.
Diamond Jubilee show.
Diamond Jubilee. Oh, my gosh. I'll remember that forever now.
Us and the Queen, baby.
That's right. And for the rest of you out there, thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, check Monica out. You won't be disappointed. You'll get a great laugh out of it. She wears the Tom Petty hat better than Tom Petty does. That big old, what was it? The Mad Hatter hat.
The WB17 hat.
The frog hat.
Yeah.
Yes.
The frog hat.
But, what a perfect way to bring in my 60th show with somebody right here from Philadelphia on PHL 17. And to my listeners out there, please stay safe. Remember, social responsibility tells you wear your mask around other people. Yeah. Treat them with the respect that they deserve to be treated and the respect that you want to have. I hope everybody else is having a great day. Stay cool. Stay you. And remember, whatever it is you stand for, be a voice. Monica, thank you so much.
Thanks, Britt.
You got it. Dylan, thank you, my friend, for showing up this morning and taking care of me as always. The rest of you have a great day. Much love to you all.